Welcome back to Ninja.Energy. Today we're going to go over how to get data from a specific folder and load it into Excel. This is very useful, and so instead of having to open up a file when we download it, copy the data, paste it into Excel, because maybe it's something we're doing every day or creating a monthly scorecard or whatever it might be. But instead of having to load that in every single time, we can tell Excel to do it for us. So we'll store it in a location, whether it's on your computer or a network directory. By the way, network directories could potentially have lag pinning the network, so just be aware of that. And you do have to be connected to the network for it to work. So if we were going to store it in a folder, so like in this case, I'm going to store mine in our C drive on my computer, folder Big Box Call Center. And the file name generally does not matter unless you do not have a date column or a time column, depending what kind of data you're using in each of these files. Since we do, the name doesn't matter. If you don't have that date in that file, you need to read the name of the file in order to get the date. That is not that difficult to do, but it is far easier if it already contains it. Some ways around this is you could rename the file to have just the date as the file name, like 2020 hyphen 09 hyphen 12 for 9/12/2020. That is a standard mechanism, which is YYYY for the year, hyphen MM for the day or the month, and then hyphen DD for the day. Very useful format. If you're doing the month as opposed to day, you could just do the year and the month and leave off the day on that name. But in this case, this is the location we're going to use. So when you're in Excel, you want to go to Data, Get Data, From File, From Folder. It's going to prompt you for the file path location, and since I already know it, it's C drive Big Box Call Data. I'm going to hit OK. It's going to load up what is contained in that folder and subfolders here. So in this case, I want to pull everything in, and there's no modifications I want to do. So if I need to filter this down to say the last 30 days, I might say transform this data, filter to the top 30 rows, sorting it based on date modified or some variation, and then top 30 rows, pull that in. But in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and combine all the data. But I want to transform it too, so I'm going to combine and transform so you can see what that looks like in our Power Query. Alright, so it's going to give us a template. It's going to pull just the first so many records, in this case 200 rows, just so that we can see it. First, we have the date, we have the agent's name, agent's ID, time slot, which of course this would be 6/1 at 1 o'clock in the morning, 6/1 at 5 o'clock in the morning, etc. And a whole bunch of other fields here telling us call data, handle time data, break time, all of that information. So just going to hit OK. Alright, so now it's going to load up Power Query Editor, and this is where we can make adjustments to this report. So an example being the column source name. I don't need it for anything because remember I have my date. So here I'm just going to remove it. Agent name and agent ID, those are very useful. Time slot's good. The column order here does not really matter, especially when you're using Power Query, unless you're being picky and you just want to move it around. If there's any other columns that you can get rid of, this will be the time to cut it down, because then you're not going to be storing all that information again. It's just going to take up space. So cut down as much as you can. It's very simple to do. In this case, let's say I want to get rid of the media type. You just really right click on that column and hit remove, and it'll keep combining them. So I know these agents don't use meeting time at all to state that they're not using, so I can remove it. I know their break time they're not used in this system, they use a different system for the breaks. So in this case, I can just remove that. Training time, they do use meal time. Again, the same as break in this department, they don't really use it. Training available, busy, tech issues. They don't have tech issues. It doesn't really matter. The point is just go through each of these columns, find what you need, keep them, everything else just purge out of the system. That way you can cut it down. Once you have it done and you have it the way you want, you can do additional things. You could filter to the number of days that you want. Date filters. You could say the latest 30 days or the earliest 30 days, 45 days, this year, this month, whatever it looks like. All right. Once you have this all good to go, all you're going to do is click Save and Load. It's going to run the query, pull the information in, and put it on a sheet. This is the time where you can rename that sheet to just data or call data, whatever your data source is, doesn't matter, just rename it. And then of course under your queries and connections, you can always right click and edit it as you need to. If you need to load it to your data model, you can right click, hit load to, and this is where you can say you want to keep the table, check it so it goes into your data model, and hit OK. Otherwise, it's very straightforward. There's a lot of uses behind this, especially if you have multiple data sources on a scorecard that you're creating and you want to then tie it all together with the data model, use the Power Query to get all that information, and then push that into a Power Pivot. So lots of uses, but this is just the scratching the surface for you so you can kind of see how that part works. Hope this was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to message me. I will try to make any videos or clear anything up I can to better assist you. But otherwise, have a wonderful day.